Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm going to use some of my new product from the new annual catalogue. You probably know that I've been waiting for my parcel for quite a while, and that's only due to the delivery services, and everybody's really backed up with deliveries from COVID. People are ordering more, things are taking a little bit longer to get to us, but it was worth the wait. And I'm going to start to use one suite at a time. And normally I show you what I've bought in my box, and then the next video I start to use things. But I thought it might be nice to show you one of the suites that I've bought, and then show you a card that I've made, and maybe make another couple of cards in the next videos, and then go on to a new suite. And that way you get to see a little bit more about what happens in the suite, what's included, what you can use it for. So the first suite I chose was this Beautiful World suite, and I've chosen it because I need to make a couple of masculine birthday cards, so it just seemed ideal to choose this one first. And it's one of those suites that when I showed you the walkthrough for the catalogue, I pointed out that there was one number, and instead of having to put in the dies, the paper, the ribbon and all those separate numbers, you could just put in the one number and you got the whole suite. And so that's what I did. I put the whole number in, I got the Memories and More pack of cards, I got the stamps, the matching dies, the pack of designer series paper, the beautiful brass foil paper, the faux suede ribbon. The only thing I didn't get was the little antique sliders and corners, and that's because they're on back order, but they will be sent out in a week or so's time. So this is what I'm going to use first, and I'm not really going to do a lot of stamping. It's quite a lazy card that I'm making because I'm only going to stamp one thing, and then I'm going to use the Memories and More things, and that's it. So the only stamp I've chosen is this one for my sentiment, the You Make the World a Better Place. And I've already got that mounted. They're the red cling rubber stamps in this one, so they've got that extra little bit of cushioning. And then I'm going to use some of the new cinnamon cider card, and one of the Memories and More cards, and a little bit of ribbon. And because I haven't got the sliders or any of the bling with it, I'm actually going to use the Gilded Gems from the Ornate Garden set. And although they're more gold than brass, I don't think it will make too much difference on the card because I'm only using a tiny bit of the brass. So I don't think you'll see that they're a slightly different colour. Okay, now the card I'm making is a crossover fold card, and I've made them before, and they're a really easy card to make. And once you've got the scoring and the cutting, the card, you actually make two cards from just this one piece, and it works like this. You can see I've already got this started, but you can fold this one over and then this one, and then it will stand up as a card. Or what you can also do is put a little bit of tear and tape down here, close it up, and you can use it to hold a gift card. So you can choose whether it's going to be just a card or a card and a gift card holder combined. And I watched one of the Canadian demonstrators, Joanne Rogers. I watched her to see how to make it, but I've changed the measurements a little bit. I didn't want such a big border on the front, so I changed the measurements a little bit. But if you go over to Design with Jo, you'll see how to make this card, and I think it's one from before Christmas. It's one of her older templates and things, but I have made this before and I've shown it on my blog before, but I'm not making it as a gift card holder today. I'm just making it as a birthday card. So what you need to start with is a piece of card which is 8.5 by 11, and we're going to do all the scoring and the cutting first. So I've got my trimmer, and on the short edge we're going to score right down the middle at 4 1/4. I'm just going to pop this in, line it up to 4 1/4 over at this side, and then making sure I've only got the score blade, which is the grey one here. I'm just going to score it a couple of times. Then I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to line this top edge up at 5 1/2. And I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to score it. Now, I don't know if you can see those scores. You can see it's in the middle, really easy way to score. But now what I need to do is I need to cut it from corner to corner. And that doesn't really fit in the trimmer as well as I would like it to. What you need to do is take this little score blade out, and it is quite simple to take out. Let me just find a little piece of card to show you. Actually, I'm going to turn it round. I'm going to turn it this way. Now, underneath this trimmer guide, if I put that card, can you see how there's that little hole almost in the trimmer? It's not because it's broken, that's where you put the blades in and out. And what I find easiest to do is to roll this down, and then when you get to that little gap, just slightly lift up your score blade, move it along, and it pops right out. And can you see on the score blade, these little pieces here, they've got almost like a little tiny hook, and that's what hooks in when you've got the score blade in. That's what stops it wobbling out. But when you get to that little gap there, if you move it down and just lift it, it means those hooks lift out of that little hole, and it comes out so easily. Okay, so now that we've got that out, I'm not quite sure which way to show you this. What we're going to do is cut corner to corner, but you can see that it doesn't really fit. I think I'll have to put it this way to show you. It doesn't really fit in the trimmer without going over the main plate onto these grey brown edges. So we're going to try and line up these corners into that little trough. I hope you can see all of that. Okay. And then once we know it's in those, you just hold this down, and we're going to use this cutting blade to cut all the way along. Now I can't really see that from here just because of the angle I'm sat at, so I'm going to turn mine round, but that's how I've got the card in. So you'll only see the very top of mine at the moment, I think. So I'm just going to line that up again. Make sure I've got it lined up exactly at the bottom as well. And then I'm going to start with my trimmer blade, or my cutting blade, part way along. I don't like having the cutting blade right on the edge, because what you can find sometimes is when you start the blade off, you crumple up this edge, and it's not the best look. So I'm just going to try and gently put that down. It won't fit down as snugly as if you didn't have the card laying over the top. And I'm just going to go down as far as I can, and then I'm just going to bring it back up and try and do the edge as well. Now you might find that where the bump is, that the blade doesn't cut through first time. So I'm just going to go over it a second time, and I know that it might not have cut, but that's okay, because I can always go through with my scissors. Now, you see what I mean? I've got a little bit here that's not cut, and you can either use your scissors, or you can go down with a trimmer blade if you have like a box cutter kind of knife, craft knife. I'm just going to cut that little bit. I'm just going to go slowly there. And then over here is the same. Just going to cut on the back there. Okay, and I'm just going to gently take that off. And now I've got just that fluffy bit there. I'm just going to trim that off. It's going to be fine. And the same on this piece. And honestly, if you don't have a larger trimmer, I think this is the best way to do this. Okay, so now you've got your two pieces that look like this. Okay. And they're the pieces we're going to use. I'm just going to put these over to one side because I've already cut these out and I've started on one of them just to show you what to do. So here we are. Here are the pieces like we just cut out. You see with the scores still down. So I'm putting this one on one side because I'm only making one card right now. Now you need 2 pieces of early espresso, and I've put one of them on the inside, and you also need a piece of Whisper White, and if you check the blog it will have the sizings. So all I've done is I've attached that Whisper White to the early espresso and I've stuck it in the middle. Okay, and then now that those are folded over, you can see how this is going to work. Now on my card I want to have a layer and then another layer, or then my top layer. So what I've done, I've taken the same size as the early espresso and I'm just going to cut it in half diagonally. So I'm going to go top right to bottom left, and I'm going to do it in just the same way that we did the big piece of card. I'm just lining corners up in the track, but this time it's going to be easier because I'm not going over the edge. And again, I'm not starting right at the corner. I'm going to go up like that, lift my blade up a tiny bit, come back down nearly to the bottom and then cut through. So these are going to be my pieces that will fit on here. And you see how that's just going to give me a little border, and that's all I wanted. So that's how my sizings are different as well from the tutorial I watched. Okay, now I'm going to use those Memories and More cards. And what I did was I looked at the larger cards, and these are great for journaling, for making card fronts, scrapbooking. I love these. And see how some of them have this brass colour on as well. Some are single-sided, and if they have the brass colour, it seems to be that they're the single-sided ones, but some are double-sided. And what I chose was this one. Now, this card is going to be for my brother-in-law, and he lives in Switzerland. And this map just happened to have Switzerland on. And when I looked really closely, it also has our hometown on, where we were all born. And this is part of England here. And nearly at the top, not at the top of England, but at the top of this card, it says Hull and York. And I was born about 8 miles away from Hull. And that's where my husband and his family grew up as well. So I thought it would be quite cute to have this card for my brother-in-law because, you know, it's got like where we grew up and where he lives now, and you know, I just thought it was cute. So that's the one I've chosen. Okay, now I'm going to trim this down because it is going to be too big, and I'm going to trim it to exactly the same size as this brown layer that we had here. And you can use ordinary DSP. You certainly don't have to use one of these cards, and you don't even have to do an extra layer. So if you didn't want the brown layer in, you could cut this top layer to the same size as the brown and not have an extra layer at all. But I'm going to cut this now to, let me remember, what size am I going to cut this to? Diane, what are you going to cut it to? I think it's 3 3/4 by 5. Yes it is, it's 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, I'm not going to cut off from the left hand side because I want England on there. So I'm just going to cut off from this side. So let's see, I'm going to line that up at 5, take that off, and then I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom because I need it to be 3 3/4, but I'm only going to take a little bit off. It's only sort of 1/4 inch. There we go. And I'm going to cut that the same way. I'm going to cut it on the diagonal because I want it to go onto here. Now, make sure when you do this cut that you've got your paper looking the right way. I always just hold my card, put my paper on and think, right, I need it that way, so I know I'm cutting top right to bottom left. But the amount of times I've cut it the wrong way is too many times. Okay, so I've got this lined up here. And again, I'm just gonna put the top guide down with the trimmer blade already part way up, and I'm going to go up to the top, open it, put my blade back in and down to the bottom. Okay. Now save this little piece that you've chopped off, because you can either put it on the inside of your card like this and just trim it off a little bit, or you could put it on your envelope. Okay, now let's have these attached. I'm just making sure I've got the right pieces here. And that I've cut them the right way. Yeah, oh, it's just a little bit bobbly there. There we go. Right, so I'm going to attach those, and I'm just going to use my liquid glue. Not anything fancy, just quick liquid glue, because I know that will stick really well. So I'm just scribbling with that glue. And it feels like this might be nearly empty. So I'm just going to attach it onto here. Once you've made these cards a couple of times and done the cutting a couple of times, it becomes really easy. I think it's just the first time that you do that cutting and you think, how did she do that? Why doesn't mine look like hers? Oh, I cut it upside down, or I've stuck it on the wrong way. But, I might do that yet. I do like those Memories and More cards for things like this though. It gives you, a fast option, and some of the cards I don't even cut out a sentiment. I'll use the smaller Memories and More. Where are they? Yeah, these little smaller ones, because they already have sentiments on a lot of them. So, or you can use them and put a sentiment on there and then cut them out with the label makers and things. And I always think these are really, really good value, because it makes an easy card. And if you just wanted to put something like this on, just on a basic card front with a little backing and a piece of ribbon or something, that's really quick and simple, but makes a nice card. I didn't used to buy those because I thought they were just for scrapbookers, but then I realised I was wrong. They come in for loads of things. I even use them for labels on birthday presents and, for tags and things. Okay, now I'm just going to attach this to here. I'm just going to turn it round, because I like to do these corners. And I like to make sure that those corners are in first. Let's move that down. And this liquid glue, see how it gives you that moment or two just to move the card along if it wasn't quite straight. If I'd stuck that down with one of the stronger tapes, I wouldn't have been able to move it at all. A little bit of glue there. Let's just take that off. There we are. Okay, let's put the other piece on. And again, I'm going to match up this corner piece first. And just make sure it's straight. There we go. Let's push that glue along there. I just need a little bit more on the edge. There we are. Okay. Sometimes, even though you cut it perfectly, you might find that one of the edges just doesn't quite match up, or it looks a little bit smaller. I don't know why that is. I can cut this 5 times, 4 times will be perfect, and then one piece will be just a tiny little bit out. So, watch for that, but it doesn't matter. It isn't going to make a big difference. Okay, so now I'm going to do my stamping. So I've got this mounted already. I've chosen Early Espresso because that's my backing colour. And I just want it to be a bit matchy-matchy. And I do like the font in this. Okay. It's pretty font, isn't it? It's sort of oldie-worldy kind of. Oh, in that suite, what I forgot to get out of the box was there's an embossing folder that goes with it. Let's see where I've hidden that. Yeah, here it is. That's the Old World embossing folder. And that was in with the same number. And it almost looks like antique journal leather or something. So I'm going to have fun with that as well. Sorry I forgot to show you that. Okay, so next I got my layering circles and scallops, and all I did was I chose some circles that I thought would fit just to cut this out, and I've already done that ahead of time. So I got one circle, then I did the next size up, so it's only a small border, look, the next size up in the early espresso, and then I used some of the brass, and I used the scallop circles that go with this. And I didn't choose to have much of a border at all. All I wanted was a little tiny accent. If you want more than this, you just choose the next die up. But I just wanted that tiny weeny bit. And while I was cutting that out, what I did was I just cut a little square off. And these little pieces on the corner, I won't throw this piece away. I might cut with one of my little tiny punches. Like, here's one of my old tiny punches. I might cut a couple of hearts out from it, or a flower or a circle, just to use in something else. And I know it doesn't look like much, but it all adds up, and you can use them in shaker cards and bits and pieces, and all of a sudden you've got a little pot full and enough for a card. So it's a bit scrimpy, but it works for me. What I also did was cut this circle, this scalloped circle again in early espresso, because I want to use it on the back. So I just want to put something in between here, and I don't want it to show on the inside of the card. So I'm going to start and attach these. Just pop this on here to make sure it's straight. See, it wasn't quite even, so glad I used that liquid glue. Okay, I'm going to attach this to the brass. Just move it along so that it looks like, you know, just a little bit of the brass showing all the way around. Okay, and then I'm not going to attach this piece yet. This is going to go on the front here, and I'm only going to attach it to the top half here, because otherwise I won't be able to open it. But can you see how when you open it, you can see the back here? Now that's fine, but I want to put a little bit of ribbon, and I don't want people to see that that's where the ribbon is attached. So that's why I've cut this out, and I'm going to put it over so that when you open it, you don't see the back and the ribbon, you just see the brown. Now I've got the faux ribbon, the faux suede ribbon. It's quite thick. It feels really nice though. Okay, let's just cut a piece off here. And I want to attach it to the back of here so that it just sticks out a little bit. Let's see how much I want. Okay, let's trim that edge down as well. Oh, it feels really nice. It's not as, it's very soft ribbon, but it doesn't move about as much as some of our other ribbons. Okay, so I'm going to do it there, and I'm going to attach it with glue dots. Ribbon's always best attached like this on glue dots. I'm going to put one top and one bottom. And that bottom one just helps stick this piece down as well. Let's just check. Yep. Okay, so now I'm going to attach this on, and I'm only going to put this on with glue, just with the liquid glue. If you wanted to use tear and tape or something, you could as well. And then just match up those scallops. You've got a minute or two. So look from the other side, because I don't want the brown bits in between the little brass edging. Okay, I'm just going to hold that, make sure it's stuck down where the ribbon is. Yep. Okay, and then I'm going to attach this to here. And you could put it up on dimensionals, or you could glue it straight down. I'm going to put it up on dimensionals. I haven't got any out, but let's find some. Okay. So I want it to go about here. So I'm only going to put dimensionals on that top piece there. I'm just going to put 3 on. I don't want them to show at the back, so I'm just putting them right at the top there. Let's take the back ends off. Then let's see, I'm just going to lay it down there and just check that I can't see any dimensionals, so that's good. Okay, let's put the lid on this glue. Now you can leave it like that. You can, as we said earlier, you can put tape across, stick that down so that you've got that little gift card holder. I don't have a gift card on me, but let's pretend this is a gift card. See how it would just sit in there, and you've got room if you want to stamp a sentiment here or anything. But I'm going to use some of the stickers from the Memories and More pack. It comes with these stickers as well, that you can use for labels at the front, on banners and things. And I'm just going to choose one of the world ones. So I'm going to hold that there as though it were closed. Just let me see. I think I'm just going to use one of these. Not doing anything fancy. Okay, now I'm going to stick it down here. Let's see, if I put it there, it will be visible. And when you open the card, you'll see all of it, but when the card is closed, you'll just see the world. And I thought it just matched the sentiment that we'd used. So there we are. That's my little crossover card made. If you wanted it to go the other way, you can make it so that it stands like this. You don't have to have it as landscape, you can make it portrait, just turn this around, and if you then want it to be a gift card, you just put your tape across this piece, glue it down, and then your gift card will fit in there just the same. So choose whichever way you want it to go. I just like the way it stands up on its own. If it's a gift card, quite often it won't stand up because you've got this extra piece here. So you can either lean it against something, or you can make like a little triangle on the back to stick on there so that it would hold the card up. But thanks for watching me, everybody, and I'll see you all again later this week, and I'm going to be making, I think, something else from this suite. Thanks again. See you all very soon. Bye.